On Monday, after a House committee looking into last year's Capitol riot voted to refer criminal charges against Donald Trump to the Department of Justice, DOJ, the former president posted a brief response on his Truth Social website. Nonetheless, Liz Cheney fell short by an unprecedented margin of 40 points. Donald Trump put pen to paper. Republican Representative Liz Cheney, who serves as vice head of the predominantly Democratic House subcommittee, was the target of the post. The incumbent Wyoming representative lost to her Trump-backed primary opponent, Harriet Hageman. According to Politico, Hageman won the primary election with 66.3% of the vote against Cheney's 28.9%. A 40-point victory over Cheney is within reach. Eventually, in the midterm elections of November, Hageman was victorious and took his position in the House. The vote on criminal referrals was held by the Select Committee just before its official dissolution at the end of the current Congress. The panel charged the ex-president with several crimes, including instigating an insurrection, blocking legislation, and conspiring to defraud the United States. According to USA Today, a mob of Trump supporters stormed the Capitol on January 6, 2021, and the committee's final report, also released on Monday, asserted that Trump was the central cause of the riot. Since the DOJ is under no obligation to take action, the House panel's criminal referrals are primarily symbolic. The department has been conducting its own investigation of the violence, and it will be responsible for choosing whether or not to press criminal charges against any of those suspected of involvement. Trump is the first former president to be submitted to the DOJ for criminal prosecution, so the recommendations were nonetheless a significant step. Cheney harshly chastised Trump for his suspected role on January 6 in the committee's final public meeting, which was the last in a series. Trump, who has declared another run for the presidency in 2024, was deemed unfit for any office by her. For her part, Cheney has been a consistent target of Trump's ire because of his behavior during the Capitol incident. After her primary defeat in August, the former president gloated that she would sink into the depths of political obscurity. The conclusion of her tenure in the House of Representatives, however, could not be the end of her political career. Cheney has not completely dismissed the idea of making a run for president herself in 2024. For failing to respond to subpoenas for information connected to its January 6 probe, the panel also referred 4 Republican lawmakers to the House Ethics Committee. Kevin McCarthy of California, Jim Jordan of Ohio, Scott Perry of Pennsylvania, and Andy Biggs of Arizona. Meanwhile, this week, a special master assessment of information collected from Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home in Florida was terminated, marking a new phase in the probe into potentially sensitive papers at the Florida compound. This allows federal investigators to resume their investigation without further delays, and it has prompted speculation that Trump may pardon himself using executive privilege. Activist Democrat Andrew Wortman tweeted on December 14, "Going on record now and saying there is at least a 99% chance that Trump issued himself a pardon while he was in office, that he plans to pull out of his pocket and try to use as an actual get-out-of-jail-free card the moment he is finally indicted arrested. It will not work." The tweet has over 11,000 likes and retweets. A lawyer, meantime, has stated that by 2023, we might know the solution to 2 constitutional questions. 1. Can you really get a pocket pardon? Can the President of the United States pardon himself? Ron Filipkowski, a former federal prosecutor, wrote this. Similar claims have been made by other Twitter users who have wondered if Trump could pardon himself if he were to be re-elected in 2024. Since the House Select Committee looking into the January 6 Capitol disturbance announced criminal referrals against former President Donald Trump to the Justice Department at its final meeting on Monday afternoon, this storyline seems to have gathered steam. Although Trump did not publicly list himself among the hundreds to whom he granted clemency while president, the potential of a covert pocket pardon would signal a momentous event in both the investigations of Trump and the history of U.S. politics. How feasible is it, then, to make such a change? Is it possible for a sitting president to receive a pardon? To what extent are secret or anticipatory pardons possible? If Trump were to make such a move, what do you think